Hello guys! Today I'll show you how to cook the perfect ribeye steak. This is something I know a lot of people struggle with, and also a thing where there's a jungle of information and things people want you to buy. I'm gonna share my own simple trick that will help you cook your future steaks to perfection, requiring nothing but the stopwatch on your phone. First of all, we need to talk about the thickness of a good steak. For me, a good thickness is around 1.5 to 2.5 inches, depending on the steak. This is around 4 to 7 centimeters. You can go with a thinner steak, but be aware that the results won't be as good. I wouldn't go any thinner than 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters, as it starts to get really tricky to achieve a good crust without overcooking the inside. So, what's the trick? The trick is that you cook your steak for 1 minute for each 1/3 of an inch of thickness, or 3 minutes per inch. This doesn't look as pretty using centimeters, but it's definitely doable. It just means you cook your steak for 1 minute for every 0.8 centimeters. This steak right here is 1.5 inches, so if you multiply 3 minutes with 1.5 inches, you get exactly 4.5 minutes. This is the cooking time for this steak. During cooking, you turn your steak every minute. This helps to not burn the steak, as you want to cook a steak at a quite aggressive heat. For the last bit of cooking, you can add some extra flavor if you want, by adding some butter and herbs. The butter will also give you a sauce for your steak that's really hard to beat. So, to sum up, for this steak, you cook it for 1 minute. Flip it and cook it for another minute. Repeat this so you're now at a total of 4 minutes. Turn off the heat and add butter and herbs. Baste the steak for the remaining 30 seconds. Make sure you have everything you need at hand before you begin the cooking, as you have to be quick and precise. Here's some cooking times of steaks with varying thickness. Remember, it's the same principle of flipping the steak every minute, reserving some time at the end for basting. Now, I'm not going to tell you if it's rare or medium rare or whatever you want to call it, as these definitions are very loose and non-consistent depending on who you ask. I think it's best for you to try it out, and if you like it cooked a bit more or less, you can adjust accordingly. Before cooking your steak, you want it dry. Just pat it with some paper towel until there's no moisture on the outside. This is followed by a generous amount of salt. And don't worry, it's very difficult to ruin a thick steak with salt, so just use common sense and you'll be fine. Now you want to heat your pan thoroughly by heating it over a medium heat. This ensures that you heat every single bit of your pan. Once you place your meat on the pan, it will transfer a lot of heat from the pan. So all that residual heat will make sure your steak keeps frying and doesn't begin to boil. This is also why you want to use the thickest pan in your possession, as it can retain more heat. But just to show you it's also completely possible, I will use a simple stainless steel pan. Note that what I'm saying doesn't apply to non-stick pans. Heating those to very high temperatures breaks the coating, which means they're not suited for cooking steaks. Just before cooking, turn up your heat to high or medium high, depending on your stove. Now, add a good amount of neutral oil, preferably one with a high smoke point, and gently lay the steak into the pan, away from yourself. Press it down for a few seconds, ensuring full contact with the pan, and then don't touch it. Immediately after placing the steak in the pan, you start your stopwatch. When cooking your steak, you want to maintain control of the temperature. If the pan gets overly hot, you risk burning the steak, so it might make sense for you at some point to lower the temperature a bit, but be careful with this if you have a cheap stove, as you risk lowering the temperature too much. For your steak to be frying properly, it should sound something like this. After 1 minute, you flip it and give it a little press once more. As you can see, a golden crust is beginning to form. Don't worry that it's not fully formed yet, as we'll get back to that side. After another minute, you flip your steak again. Yet another minute and you flip your steak a 3rd time. Now you can see we have a beautiful golden crust covering every bit of the steak. This is what we're looking for. Approaching minute 4, you turn off your heat and flip the steak. Now we add butter and herbs. I like to add pepper at this stage as well, as I think it gives the best flavor. Then you turn your steak once more and baste it with the foaming butter for the remainder of the cooking time. Once done, transfer to a wire rack for a rest. I recommend leaving it to rest for around 5 to 10 minutes, depending on the thickness. Now that the steak's fully roasted, let's see the results. You can serve your steak any way you like, but just remember that pan sauce from earlier. There you have it, the easiest way to cook a steak with almost no equipment. If you, like many people, struggle to cook fish, check out my video where I explain the simple rules you need to abide when cooking fish. Just click this link and become comfortable cooking fish. Now, if you found this video helpful in any way, please remember to like and subscribe. It will be greatly appreciated. Take care.